Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sandwich of Coherency. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. Again, I feel like we're repeating a broken record and it's just spinning round and round and round. Can somebody, please, you can put it in the comments. Can somebody tell me, please, for the life of me, why does Alejandro Mayorkas still have a freaking job? Look, we've covered him multiple times. We've seen him gone up and be questioned by multiple congressional members. And I'll be honest with you, 90 to 95% of the time, this guy doesn't answer a question. It's just stonewalling all over the place. Like, I have to admit that, like, I mean, I've seen terrible shit. Okay, I've seen elected officials dodge questions, use political speak during debates and questioning, but never in my entire life have I seen during an administration what I've seen during this current Biden administration. If you'll notice one thing, that anybody that is there to represent the current White House, they don't want to answer any questions. And we're talking basic questions. Yes, no. Like these people, you could literally ask them, "Hey, is the sky blue?" And they'll give you some shit. Well, you understand, 50 years ago, there was a study done. No. Just tell me, is the sky blue right now? Like, when you look up, is it blue? Is it green? Is it gray? Like, what do you see? Is it blue? Well, you have to understand, 3,000 years ago, that's what you get. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this bit of questioning of Mayorkas by Senator Josh Hawley. And I kid you not, within the first minute of Mayorkas speaking, your head's going to explode, because it's like that the entire freaking way. And every time this guy has come forth, it's the same thing every single time. This guy if he's the head of the Homeland Security, if this is the guy that's supposed to be keeping the border safe, or at least he's in charge of the people keeping the border safe, then I would like to tell you this, America, you have no freaking border. You may as well just hand the nation over to whatever riffraff or whatever decides they want to come into the nation. Because they're coming in, look, I've said it time and time again, these are not asylum seekers. These are not refugees fleeing some hardship, some tragic war-torn nation or anything like that. These are mostly people coming from Central and South America who are looking for what? Money. Why? Because their countries have no money. Guess what? Apparently, the socialism and the communism that these young Americans seem to think is going to save America isn't working. Because the people who you're idolizing seem to be trying to get the fuck out of it. Let's just go ahead and jump into this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for being here. Let me start with what I hope is a simple question. Do we need to have more or fewer people coming to our southern border?
Senator, we are working on diminishing the number of people whom we encounter at our southern border because of the challenge it presents. We're trying to build lawful, safe, and orderly pathways to accomplish that.
Okay, fewer. So we need to have fewer, which means we need to roll back incentives to come. So I would have thought that would have been the answer. Let's talk about what you're doing, though. In January of this year, you rolled out a new phone app called CBP One, an app for a cell phone. I've got a picture of it behind me here. This phone app allows, and I'm going to quote from your own fact sheet, it allows, and I quote, non-citizens without appropriate documents for admission to schedule an appointment to come to the border. They can now go on their phone and schedule a time to come to the border and then be admitted.
I got to pause it right there. Yo, I'm gonna try not to stop it too many times, but this is the point of where they're at of trying to keep the border safe. In order to keep the border safe, what we're going to do is we're going to create an app. And now anybody who wants to enter the country illegally can make an appointment to enter the country illegally. Fuck all the protocols you're supposed to go through. Port of entry, I don't know, visas, ID, go through customs. No. Fuck all that. Sign up on this app. We'll tell you when to come to the border, and pretty much we'll let you in. But maybe I'm getting ahead. Maybe, just maybe, Mayorkas has, I don't know, some kind of coherent fucking response to this.
You identified 7 separate border points of entry where they could come. 5 of them in Texas, 2 of them in California, 1 in Arizona. It's like a concierge service for illegal immigrants. My question is, you didn't think the border crisis was bad enough that now we're going to have an app that allows illegals to schedule their appointments and come and be admitted to this country?
Senator, you're mischaracterizing the use of the application. Let me explain it to you. We are currently enforcing the public health order of Title 42, and I know you're very familiar with it. There is a process for individuals who claim an exception to the Title 42 expulsion authority because of an acute medical condition.
Well, let's talk about this
urgent,
app.
If I may finish, an urgent humanitarian reason. So instead of them coming in between the ports of entry to claim that urgent medical condition, that extraordinarily acute humanitarian cause, we allow a limited number to arrive at our ports of entry and seek the emergency relief that they need.
Schedule, you allow them, let's be particular about what you do.
And I should say that the CBP One app was not unveiled for the first time on January 5th of this year.
Oh no, but you changed.
I'm going to pause it right there. Because I know I wasn't the only one that heard what he just said. So according to Mayorkas, his breakdown is people who are elsewhere, wherever the fuck they're coming from, you can now schedule coming to the United States to get medical treatment and medical care at the expense of the American taxpayer. Now, am I supposed to believe they're just coming here for free healthcare and then they're going to leave? Fuck no. Can somebody please, is there anywhere else in the entire planet Earth that we reside on where you can schedule with the country to enter there illegally to go get health care, then the citizens of that country are going to pay for the shit? This is essentially what he just said. For people with medical conditions, you know, they can schedule so they can come to the United States to get that acute medical care. Who's paying for it? Obviously, they can't afford to pay for it. And again, look. Here's a very important thing that people keep saying. Oh, these countries have great medical care. Their health care is so great. They're so much better than the United States. Then why are they coming here? If that were the case, there would be no reason for them to leave their countries for health care. Well, that's more of that socialism for you. Shh.
You made it available on January 5th to the illegals themselves. You don't have to be a lawyer to use it. You don't have to be a member of a non-governmental organization. Anybody can download the app and use it on their phone. And for the first time, you allowed them to schedule appointments. Now, let's talk about what actually happens when they come to the border. It's interesting. You characterized this when you rolled it out as an application for applying for asylum. But nowhere on the app do you actually require the illegal migrants to apply for asylum or to claim asylum or anything about asylum. And in fact, when they then get to the border, you don't ask them questions, you don't do interviews, you just release them. Here's the Texas Monthly, not a notable conservative outlet, who reports, and I quote, "At no point does the app ask users, are you seeking asylum? Those arriving for the CBP One appointments are given no interviews, asked no questions about vulnerabilities that they may or may not have listed in the app or about why they're coming to the United States. They're simply released into the country," end quote. So rather than building a wall, Mr. Secretary. You have built Ticketmaster for illegal immigrants.
You are, Senator, you are conflating programs. Let me explain
Well,
to
just
you.
respond to this. Is it true that they are given no interviews, asked no questions, and simply released into the country?
Let me explain to you what we announced on January 5th.
No, I want you to explain to me what's happening. I know what you announced. I read it to you.
So I will explain to you what is happening.
Are they given interviews? Let's start with
because-
that. Are they given interviews?
We were previously experiencing
That's starting to sound like a no. Well, let's just
90
hone in here. Mr.
almost-
Secretary, my time is very limited. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to drive to some clarity here.
But, Senator,
The Texas Monthly has reported that once illegal immigrants go on their phone and reserve their time to come to the border, once they use your concierge service that you've created for them, when they come, they are given no interviews. They are asked no questions about any vulnerabilities. They are simply released into the country. Is that happening?
Senator, you are mistaken. And if I may explain,
Are they given interviews?
if I may explain, individuals who seek parole under our January 5th program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans are screened and vetted before they arrive at our border.
Wait a minute. No, they go on they go on the phone and they just reserve a time, and then they show up and they're given nothing. Listen to this. Even immigration advocates are amazed about this. Here, also from the Texas Monthly. Here's one immigration advocate whose first name is Orta. She says, that's the crazy part. Nothing in this new program requires you to actually seek asylum. Somehow, we've decided to punish those who arrive at the border without the app, who may be seeking asylum, but we just let in anybody who may or may not have any particular reason to seek asylum, so long as they've made an appointment on your Ticketmaster app. This seems crazy to me.
Senator, it's a complete mischaracterization of the program that we announced and are implementing
So how many people have used the app then?
that you are referring to. So if I can explain.
How many people have used the app?
So we had a significant surge of Cubans.
How many people have used the app?
Nicaraguans and Venezuelans.
Mr. Secretary, you're here to answer my questions. How many people have used the app?
Tens of thousands have sought to make an appointment at the port of entry under our parole program.
Okay, good. How many have been admitted without an interview at the border?
You are, again, inserting a fact that does not belong in your question. So if I can, I will get you the precise.
I'm reading to you from public reports about how your own app works. You're
Wait,
just
let me
blanket
pause,
denying.
let me
Actually,
pause. Inserting a fact. He's asking a legitimate question. That's a legitimate question. Following up the previous question. How many people have used the app? Okay, how many have you admitted? You're inserting a fact. No! That's the follow-up. That's the natural, organic follow-up question. You know, hey, here's a bag of oranges. How many oranges did you get? I got 10. Oh, how many did you eat? Oh, you're inserting a fact that doesn't belong in your question. What are you talking about? You bought a bag of oranges? I'm just asking how many you ate. That's a very easy question. Have used the app? Tens of thousands. How many have you admitted?
quite denying it. You're saying that maybe we don't understand. Apparently, I don't understand. Texas Monthly doesn't understand. Immigration advocates don't understand. You're the only one who understands, yet you won't answer my question. How much did this cost to develop, by the way?
Senator, I don't have the cost, but let me share with you a critical
Well, will you
fact.
get it for us?
Let me share with you a critical
Will you
fact.
get us the cost of to develop this app?
Happily.
Did you contract with a tech firm to develop it?
Senator, we have seen approximately.
Did you contract with a tech firm to develop it?
We have seen an approximately
for heaven's sake.
95% decrease.
Did you contract with a tech firm to develop it? Yes or no?
Senator, this was led by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, our technical experts within the agency, and I certainly will get an answer to your question whether outside consultants were utilized
you don't
in the
know.
development process.
You don't know.
May I explain to you, since you have a misunderstanding of the program, what it is and the impact, the positive impact it has had on encounters of these four populations in between the
I just
ports of
want to know
entry.
why it is that you are allowing people to come to this border to make appointments, to not be interviewed, and then how many have just been released? Is it true, by the way, as the Texas Monthly reports, that they're simply released into the country on official parole. And get this, they're not given, according to their reporting, any kind of follow-up. Their court dates are in immigration courts, Texas Monthly reports, not even necessarily asylum trials. They're often general deportation hearings where defendants can make arguments for remaining in the country. Is that true?
That is a completely mistaken understanding of how the immigration process works. That language is completely confusing and erroneous.
Well, it is confusing. What's confusing is why anybody would think that an app like this to allow illegal immigrants to literally reserve a time to come to the border and then be ushered in without an interview, without follow-up, without tracking is stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Let me ask you in my very short time remaining something else about Chinese nationals. I've only got a minute left.
That is false.
Let me ask you about the
It's false. Reading you your own shit. If it's false, you shouldn't have released it. This is... Oh.
Chinese nationals who we all saw coming over the border, busloads of them, and then being released in the American interior. What's the percentage increase of Chinese nationals who crossed the border this year, Mr. Secretary? Let's just focus on maybe the Rio Grande Valley sector.
The number of Chinese nationals encountered at our southern border has increased significally.
Do you know how much?
Over the past, I don't have the precise percentage.
I do. It's 900% just in the Rio Grande Valley sector. Are any of these people who came in this bus, these Chinese nationals, members of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, if an individual presents a national security or public safety threat...
You don't know, and you're also lying. If anybody poses an immediate threat, blah, 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 that's bullshit. I just want to remind people, if you think about what happened with the evacuation of Afghanistan, they stuck thousands of people on. They brought thousands of people out. Nobody was vetted. Nobody was questioned. They didn't know who the hell was getting on the plane. They just said, bring them to America. Or wherever the fuck they dropped them off at. I don't know. But the whole point I'm saying is that this guy is completely inept. He is incompetent. He is in a position that he does not deserve to be in. This is what you voted for. You know, you fell for the Democrats' rhetoric. You fell for the whole whoop-de-doo, la-la, everything is fucking rainbow shit. This is what you voted for. And if you think that the millions upon millions upon millions of people they've let in and let get away and get in over these past few years are going to be expunged from the United States, you are sadly mistaken. You are absolutely, sadly mistaken. And right now, the United States is already broken. It has trouble helping its own fucking citizens. I'm sorry. At some point, we need to close the door and say, hey, there's no more room at the end, buddy. Sorry. You know, you might have to follow that immigration protocol that says that anyone who claims to be seeking asylum or refugee status is required to apply in the first country of landing. Not skip 1, 2, 3, 4 and whatever to, and then come to the United States and apply because you didn't like what Mexico had to offer or you didn't like what Honduras had to offer. No. You are supposed to legally apply there first, which is why all these people that are flooding into the United States should immediately be expunged because they broke that basic protocol. But I thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.